Great. Okay, hello, Ry. What has the reception been like for In a Violent Nature for you so far?
It's been crazy. Um, we weren't expecting it to be on this level whatsoever from day one. It was just kind of, we're making a horror film that we hope people appreciate, and it's a new take on an age-old genre that we all appreciate, and just kind of wanted to give something new there, but didn't expect for people to embrace it the way they have been.
And what that must be great, right?
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. We're all just sitting back and pinching ourselves because yeah, it's just so unexpected. And I mean, we were all proud of the film and had faith in it and everything too, but you just can never expect it to go to this level. Like it's just crazy.
So it's surreal.
Yeah, very, very much surreal. Pinching myself every day, basically.
Okay, but why do you think that's the case? What makes this movie different than other horror movies?
Well, I mean, obviously the different perspective off the bat, showing people the flip side of what they've seen. They've seen the other side of the story so many times. The following around, and the killer is the one who jumps out of the shadows, and then it's a shock kill. But here it's more about the building, the tension, and seeing the setups and seeing everything kind of behind the scenes of what the killer does. But then also I think there hasn't been. I mean, there's been some slasher films, but there hasn't been an actual like Friday the 13th film in quite some time. Films specifically, I'm sure there has been, but like slashers that take place directly in the woods. Um, but then that on top of just the other angle to it, I think that all kind of plays into it. And just there's obviously an audience for it, and people are looking for different perspectives, and to see something fresh. So I think that all kind of plays into it.
Nice. Yeah, I love the perspective in this movie. It's so funny. It warps. So, what were your first thoughts when you read the script?
I was excited that they wanted me to be a part of it. I've done a few creature or killer performances in the past, which all kind of helped me in prep for this, and then to put something new into this too. But then also knowing the team behind it, and being aware of Chris Nash's work, and the special effects team behind this, that was a big element that I just got excited about too, because I knew that they would do a great job with it. And then Nash's his script, the perspective flip, and getting to play the slasher killer who becomes the star of the film. That's something that it's happened. There's a couple of times where that's been done, but not in this way. So it was a lot of fun to read that, and to read the kill scenes that are all script line for line exactly how they end up on screen. So I was very excited when reading a bunch of those, and just being like, how are they going to pull this off? And are they actually going to do it the way that it's written? And they did. So it was pretty exciting just to be able to be a part of that.
Incredible. So, please, for people who haven't seen it yet, describe your character and their motivation.
So I played Johnny, um, who's a essentially an undead force of nature, a killing machine, who has come back because there's people traipsing around in his territory, and they start taking his things, and he doesn't like that. But you do get a backstory to Johnny, and it's almost as if this film, it was kind of designed to be. Chris thought that what if we enter into this series, and it's like almost like it's the second or third entry into a horror series. So there's already this built up background to Johnny. Like there's already been an event that's passed, and you find out sort of what motivates Johnny directly. And I don't want to give that fully up, but it
Sure.
has something to do with something called the White Pines slaughter. But that all comes into play in the film, and you find out that story. But it's more or less that's sort of the backdrop as to why Johnny is the way he is, and then you're kind of just along for the ride to see what exactly he's going to do.
Nice. And what's your favorite thing about this movie? Like, what elements?
Um, I mean, I love the cinematography and the sound design. I think they all play huge roles themselves in the film. Just the nature itself, and how it juxtaposes the beauty of that against the horrific things you're going to see Johnny do, and with the rest of the cast and characters who are involved, who are all a huge part of it too, and they were all, you know, troopers for everything that they had to go through, being covered in blood and mosquitoes and black flies out there. And I just love, I think, I don't know, it's hard to say what any specific element is, because it all plays so much. But I
Yeah.
also, like, I'm a huge fan of practical special effects,
Wow.
and getting to see that and getting to be a part of some of these epic moments, probably it's got to be a highlight for me too, just because I've been a fan of effects and stuff like that since I was a kid. So watching it all, and I used, I'll watch all the behind the scenes for films, and look at how they pulled things off. And I used to watch the Fangoria Awards, or I forget, there was a horror award show back in the day that it would show some of these special effects and how it was done, and all that stuff. So, I think that's got to be a big part for me.
Nice. Was the vibe heavy on set? Was it like going to summer camp, or was it like a bad shroom trip, or was it sort of a merge of both those sort of things? So what was like a day-to-day working on this movie?
Yeah, it was probably a mixture of things, and not heavy at all because of any of the people involved.
Right.
Only because of like elements that you're unforeseen, torrential rain, and mosquitoes and black flies just coming out
Oh,
in
jeez.
droves in the middle of the shoot. Like, it was right when they hatch and then go into biting mode. So they were there the first week or whatever. They didn't really bother you. And then all of a sudden, it was one day, it just all changed, and they were on everybody.
Oof.
But other than that, I mean, the set, everybody involved kept things pretty light and funny, and everyone was great to work with, and they took really good care of me while I was in the suit, and made sure that I was feeling good and always feeling safe, and didn't over and all that stuff. So it was a great experience with the people we had. And then it was just the tough parts were just to do with being in the middle of nowhere, or just outside of Sault Ste. Marie, way up north in Ontario.
Mhm.
Just you run into things that just you can't, you just have to deal with on the spot. But other than that, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was like a summer camp horror movie making experience.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And so you said you admire Chris Nash. What kind of director is Chris Nash? What's he like as a collaborator?
Well, he's great because he's incredibly focused and knows exactly all the puzzle pieces that he's putting together, specifically with this film, because really does rely on a lot of technical things that all kind of have to piece together. So knowing that he had that all figured out distinctly ahead of time, like, not only just the script and the sequences that are there, like that all had to be designed ahead of time because of the prosthetics and all the special effects involved. But then he just knew too, like, and how one shot would transition into another. Knowing that somebody is that on top of things right off the bat, it kind of takes a load off of any stress that you might have as an actor. You can just trust it. And then on top of that, he was also really open to just in the moment, specifically with a lot of the other actors too. Like, they because they play sort of tropes and specific characters that we see in these other films. He was very open to letting them, get that across in whatever way that they could do that. So it's great to have like a combination of that in a director.
Nice. Were you at Sundance for the premiere of this movie?
Yeah, I was actually my first time seeing it. So it
Nice.
was that was kind of another surreal experience. It's just mind blowing because Sundance has always kind of been that festival. It's always been just a bucket list moment for me, and then watching and knowing about all the films that have played there over the years and the history of that festival and everything. It was just kind of like I couldn't. I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe it when we first found out they were playing that. Chris called me, and I was working at my bar job, bartending,
Mhm.
and he called me and said we're going to Sundance with the film. So
Ooh,
it was just kind of this mind blowing experience, and then being there and hearing all the experiences and people watching the film and responding in all the ways that we actually intended for it to, hoping that people would laugh at these right moments and be grossed out by other moments and shocked. And it all played. It all, like, the laughs and the gasps were all there. So it was just kind of, yeah, the whole thing was surreal.
very nice. So where do you serve these killer cocktails?
Uh,
All
just a bar downtown in Toronto.
right, we'll leave it at that. We don't want to plug. That's fine. That's fine. I accept. I accept. I just had to throw in that bad joke. So if you could act with anyone, who would it be?
Sorry if I could.
Act with anyone else.
Oh,
Yeah.
ooh, that's I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
I like Clint Eastwood's always been a huge kind of up there, and I know he's up there himself at this point. But
Yeah,
he
I
just
think
had a
he put his
birthday the
last
other day.
movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I mean he's still directing. I don't even know if he is acting, but I mean him and Harrison Ford are probably two of my favorites of all time. So like, I mean, there's so many. Gene Hackman and yeah, I don't know. Charlize Theron's a big one. Denzel
Nice.
Washington. I mean, come on, like there's there's a pretty
Of
huge
course.
list.
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right. Well, Ryan, thanks a lot for talking to me. Any final thoughts? Any words of advice for people going in to see in a violent nature?
Just go in prepared for something you haven't seen before, a fresh take. Leave your expectations and just like go with the ride that it is, because it is different, and it's designed to be that way, and it's designed to give you something that you haven't seen before.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your
Have
time.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.